Good afternoon, everybody, or whatever time of the day it is for you. I'm Soul. I'm your host today. We're going to be talking about the Malevolent Seven, right? Malevolent Seven? Is there a the in there? I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
it's Malevolent Seven.
It is
By
the
S-
Malevolent Seven.
it is perfect. Okay, already a correction, and we're less than 30 seconds in. And this
Awesome.
is, yeah, thank you. So I got first off, this is authored by Sebastien de Castell. You may know him from the Greatcoat series or the Slingers,
Slinger. Like
Slingers,
slinging, yeah.
Spell Slingers series. And I have co-host with me, the best, the one and the only, the dad, Chesky.
Hey, everybody.
All right, and I have a mom, and we call her Red because she's always angry at pretty much anything I or Chesky do. And this is what was your name? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Little Red Book.
Okay, there we go. It's the three of us today. This is going to be a spoiler-free version of the uh, general discussion of this book because we don't want to spoil anything. The book's not out yet. It's coming out in a couple days, I think, when we're gonna release this episode, and then we will have a full version with spoilers afterwards, clearly marked so nobody gets spoiled. All right.
Spoilers are okay, guys. We really
Okay.
need to we really need to not
No,
have the
no, no. Spoilers are within reason, and when they know about them, clearly.
We will
Okay.
we will spoil you after 15 minutes or so.
Yes, we'll clearly mark when. Okay, so now let's get into. Oh wait, I can't do a recap. This is the spoiler-free version.
Do you have a
Actually,
recap done?
no, I was gonna wing that too.
Oh,
Uh,
Jesus.
no, we'll just go with the plot. I don't even want to spoil the plot. It's called the
Well, I
Malevolent
think
Seven.
I think here's something you can't say that's non-spoilery. It's the Malevolent Seven.
Yeah,
There's also a movie called The Maleficent Seven. There's another movie that's very similar to that. It's pretty similar to those as far as I.
yeah.
You mean
It's based on
Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent
And also
Seven,
Yeah,
and
sorry,
which
the
also
is
the
based
Magnificent
on the
Seven. Yeah.
original
also the
movie
Seven
Seven
Samurais.
Samurai.
Right.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
Yes.
very
yes.
similar to those, but in a fantasy way, and that is really not a spoiler. I don't consider that a spoiler.
No, this
It,
is it's a trope. It's
yeah,
about seven anti-heroes or possibly just heroes that get together to save or like and Magnificent Seven is to save a town. And they would normally get together to do that, and they do that. And Seven Samurai, I don't remember because I fell asleep 20 minutes into the movie and hearing and everybody will hate me, but I'm assuming they save a town. There was a bunch of angry samurai running around. And it's something similar to that, where you're going to get basically seven people, and let's assume they're anti-heroes because it's called the Malevolent Seven. And there you go. You guys can infer the plot from there.
So
all right,
I have a question for you guys.
all right,
Sure.
I'm ready.
So in Great Coats, magic is very much on background. It's something that's happening, but not really the characters are participating in.
Okay, that's true.
Hmm.
So now we have magic very much in the forefront. And what do you guys think about the change?
Well, Sebastian, his other series, Spell Slingers, is also very much magic forward, magic centric. It's basically the entire plot, even almost, I would say more so than this one. I've only read the first book, but it's magic is part of the identity of the plot issues and I guess the character development in the first one of that book. So I think this one is like that in between where this world is really interesting, but it's still about the characters, and I don't think they're tied too much into their magic system. And that's my
I,
take. What do you
I
think?
disagree just a little bit. I
Okay.
think it's just the only thing I disagree with is I think it's neck and neck with the spell slinger. They're both very very magic heavy, and I'm all here for it. I love it. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
cool.
say no.
It's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it when I get to see the magic and see how it works and get to, understand it. I don't have to understand it 100%, right? But
Right.
understanding it more than just, hey, there's magic happening over there. You get to hear about it, but you don't actually get to see it, you know?
Yeah, well, I think it's a fairly well thought out system. It's not very hard, but it is very I guess you would say like what is there 12 of them? I think there's 12 like little sects or power
It depends
categories.
on how you divide it, but yeah, I think there's
Mhm.
at least 12. So
And I think it's interesting because he does what Brandon Sanderson always tells people to do with their magic system is to have what you cannot do in the magic be something that's interesting, and that's why people like it. And I think in this one there is quite a few things you can't do with it, and there's limitations that make it feel more fun than if it was like a soft magic system where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna blow up the world because I can, and you didn't know that until just now.
It's it's kind it's not really hard, but it's not really soft either. I agree. I've not
well,
read Spellslinger, but I really enjoyed because I've only read Greatcoats. I've really enjoyed having the magic in the story, like as
yeah.
integrated and having our characters be magicians.
Mm-hmm.
I
Chesky,
was
go
just
ahead.
I was gonna say a topic for another day, of course, but hard and soft are very distinguished. But
Mushy.
most 90% of books are gonna be like kind of right in that middle zone
Yeah,
where
that's true.
they're hard and soft at the same time. So I think we understand what we're saying. But I think we forgot kind of the most important part of this spoiler free section, and that's did you guys like it? What would you give it out of 5 stars? Yeah.
Terrible duties as the host. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
Chesky, why don't you start us off?
I'll start you off. I really liked it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads, and that's I mean I think there were some things that I could have nitpick on it, but in general the enjoyment factor just pushed it up to 5 out of 5 for me. The characters were great, the magic system was great. Plot, since it's kind of just that trope plot, is a little bit redundant, but not in a bad way. There's enough twists and keeps things to keep me interested. So I really loved it. Probably a little less than the first and last Greatcoat books. Just those were so impactful, and this one was just a little bit less impactful in that way, but still really good.
Okay, okay. And Red, what do you think?
I would give it a 4 out of 5. It
Wow, that's
was
actually pretty good for you. All right.
you guys must think I'm such a total um anyway, yeah, 4 out of 5. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the voice of the main character who
Hmm.
we're experiencing the story through. His name's Cade. And he has an unreliable narrator feel, but he is not he tries to be honest with himself. I think he's a little hard on himself, but he tries to be honest with himself. And he's like, "Look, I'm not a hero. Like I've made compromises to get where I am
Well, I
and
I
my
think
have
this
best
stuff
is
to
friend."
say about Cade in the spoiler section. Don't you
yeah,
worry.
yeah. Let's save the rest of that,
Okay,
but I
well,
will
I'm just saying,
agree.
but
Yeah.
but this is all in the first chapter. This is all first chapter stuff.
This is the voice that in our interview with Sebastian that he mentioned, and that's what drew me in those first two pages was that
Right.
this is the voice of his main character. And so far all of his books have that. Like I think what you're trying to get at is he's interesting, he's intriguing.
Right, and his best friend is like a maniacal murderer, kind of. I mean,
I love him.
like
I
it
love
opens
Corrigan.
with his
So
best
good.
friend maniacally murdering people.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was the best.
that is what it says in the blurb too. My only friend, a homicidal thunder mage.
Yeah. Yeah, Corrigan is just absolutely incredible. No,
So
I'm gonna
much
agree.
fun.
This book was I'm gonna give it like I think I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Definitely with Chesky where it wasn't as good as I think the last and the first Grey Coat books for me, just because, like you said, those were impactful. They were very emotional. This one was still, emotional, but it really fit what it wanted to do. It was like a movie that didn't try to step out of its bounds and be like also a drama and a history and a comedy and too many things at once. This book knew what it wanted to do and it did it really well. And for that, it definitely succeeded. And that's why I wanted to give it, 4.5 out of 5. All right. Let's see. What else can we get into before spoilers? I know we could do possibly pacing. I thought the pacing was actually pretty good. Stayed on point with similar tropes to what he was trying to go with.
I think the pacing was actually better than it is in Greatcoats. I think Greatcoats had a couple spots that just had issues with pacing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say to that. I think if you're caught up on the Legendarium live streams, Craig just did one about being preachy, and this book I don't think was preachy at all. Whereas Greatcoat sometimes could veer into a little bit of that preachiness. No, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, like you said, Greatcoat sometimes kind of stalled a little bit versus the Malevolent Seven really just kept that line
Th-
going through it.
Yeah,
This was
I could see that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so when I say, eh, yeah, not preachy. I don't think Greatcoats is preachy, but it has places where the plot stops, and then
Mhm.
Yeah.
Falkio talks to you for like 15 minutes, and you're like,
Well,
"Is there
I
a
think
story
that's
here?"
also just a testament to Sebastian's voice for his characters, where Falkio has a much uh,
He's
better
more
morality.
introspective.
He's more introspective, but I think his morality, where he wants to be more of a better person and he wants to be this good figure, whereas Cade is a different person and he's, you know, I'm not going to spoil anything, but he's not going to do as much monologuing as Falkio to, you know, get into that. But yeah,
No, I agree. I like this. We could talk a little bit about the voice and kind of that opening chapter. I know that Sebastien de Castell, when we talked about it with him in his interview, he was proud of that opening. I think it's an opening to be proud of. You know, picture the wizard. You know, do you think of this pointy hat? What do you think of this? And now let me show you what the truth is. Kind of, it's a nice, like he's talked about in the interview. It's a really good way to start the story, and I love the way that he writes his characters where they're telling you the story the whole time. So like in Greatcoats, you're always listening to Falkio as if he's talking to you, right? And
yeah,
same here in Kate Umbra, you're also hearing him talk. You know, he takes time out of the story to talk directly to you and maybe explain things or just set something up so you have a little bit more context. I never felt like I was like, oh, come on, Cade, get back to the action. Quit talking to me about it. You know what I mean? Did you guys feel that way or?
Red, what do you think?
Um, yeah, no, I totally agree with that. He, it made me think. Greatcoats is third person, right?
Ooh,
I think it's first person still because he talks about the moves that he does.
Yeah, but it's
Unless it's a different when it's in Falkio, it's first person. When it's watching somebody else, it's not first person.
so this is all first person, and
yeah,
I'm pretty
Mm.
sure
yeah,
Greatcoats is close perspective third person. Like it's never I, it's always he, but this is all I, and I really enjoyed that and felt like it was more personal, I guess, and um, yeah,
yeah, that's fair. Okay. No, I mean I
that's
agree. I'm not
very
one to really
intelligent.
pay attention. No, no, that's fine. We're stumbling around areas that we don't want to get into because of spoilers. So that's why these are the topics that we don't want to get too far into. But um, yeah, this is not one of those things I really look for as far as like as long as it's not in second person. If it is in second person, I've only read a few books that I've really enjoyed in that. I really
So
don't pay
let's
attention to it.
talk about I'm kidding.
What do you
Just
got? Nothing? Okay. All right.
MK
Well,
Jemison.
I know. Well, that's we're not getting into that. We're not getting into that. That's not this podcast. This is the Sebastian de Castell Malevolent Seven podcast. Um, all right. So we did the magic system. We did most of the pacing, the tropes. Does anybody have anything else? I think the names in this one, pretty cool. I'll give him that. Just a small part of the novel, but the names he had for the characters and the magic, uh, very fun. I did like the the world. It was interesting. It wasn't too in depth, but he still had enough to draw you in. Because again, this is not a long book. This is meant to be a standalone. So,
Well, yeah, the idea of different planes and like magic is literally breaking the world every time you perform it. I thought that was a fun idea.
mhm.
It was a good idea, and it's nice to see. I'm not going to spoil where, but it's nice to see some of the consequences of actually doing magic in the book besides death,
Yes,
right? And we do
Yes.
see
yeah.
that, right? So,
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. I don't know if we can talk much more about
I
this book
think
without
that's it.
spoilers.
We've
it's really tough
done.
to talk
If
about this
you've made
without
it,
getting into spoilers. Yeah.
yeah, if you've made it this far, this is your warning. The spoilers are
Have you
coming.
made it through our rambling for the
Yeah,
last 20
well,
minutes?
I know. Just go read the book, and then you can come back. And I think Panda is the super genius who'll be able to figure out how to timestamp it, so you know exactly when
Ooh, does she know
to
how to
start.
do that?
I'm pretty sure she does. I've
Oh, I
never
need to
tested
ask
it
her
myself, but I'm pretty sure she knows how to
because
timestamp.
I want to timestamp things and I am bad at my job.
See, that's why we
All
have Panda
right.
around.
But now that we're in the spoiler section,
Here
let's
we
talk
go.
about our
Do we have a
characters here.
summary? Do we have a summary first?
All right, here is the summary. Cade, Umbra, and Corrigan are both war mages. They are in a big fight. Cade, true to his moral conscience that he has, decides not to ruthlessly murder everyone that he has the opportunity to, therefore getting him kicked out of the war mages group that he was in and nearly killed. He's offered a quest multiple times, which he continues to refuse, saying the benefits don't match the pay, or the benefits don't match the risk. There's something going on with this job. He's basically forced to accept the quest. They travel. They recruit their key crew members. They're able to come to the end. They fight the Pandorals, a lesser-known plane of existence that want to migrate here. They stop them, and they move off to continue to save the world with the Malevolent Seven.
Yeah,
How was that, Soul?
that was pretty good. Yeah, yeah, this was fun. I liked the different events. I liked pretty much most of the characters. I knew I wouldn't, it's tough to like every character, but Cade and Corrigan, oh, I
Yeah,
like
All
them
their
a
right.
lot.
their relationship was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Um,
He does good relationships, very good relationships.
I know. Which is what I was excited to see is
he
the
did.
first two pages we get a murdering dude with an indigo beard and hair and just like lightning flying everywhere. That was incredible. It set a great picture for pretty much the start. Did you guys want to here, let's do this.
Yeah, did
We'll
you
go
have?
through.
I've seen a whole lot. Um, so
Okay.
you have the scene on the pleasure boat. By the way, there's a lot of listeners. There's a lot of bad words and lots of references to sex. So if that's
Mm-hmm.
something you're not gonna like,
This is
this
Yeah,
is not
this
your butt.
we should
possible
have probably
trigger.
mentioned that in the spoiler section, the non-spoiler section. This book
Yeah.
is a little bit crude at
Yeah.
times,
It,
right?
I
But not in
I
a
loved it.
horrible way.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was fine. So you have the scene in the pleasure boat where he's rescuing the
The
angel,
angelic.
basically. Yeah, the
Yeah.
angelic. And the way the action is written is that he has to solve. It's all about solving puzzles. All of the action scenes are about solving puzzles, and they're really intense. The one at the very end where they're careening towards the gates of that the brothers have become, it's just like the way he sets it up and the way he delivers on action is amazing in the story.
Yeah, because everything is like you said, it's a puzzle because that's the magic system. The magic system is breaking the laws of like their universe. So they're like, well, how do we do that without, killing us or destroying what we need to do? And then they do it. And then he goes through so many scenarios in his head that also makes it fun where like you said, when they're on the pleasure boat, he's like, oh, well, we could do this. And they're like, nah, but then this would happen. They're like, yep, you're right. Okay, how about if we tried this? And it's like it felt like a team and like a sports team kind of like huddling and doing a brainstorm of what their next play is going to be. And I really like that. It was fun and brought together the whole Malevolent Seven, the crews
Right.
together.
I thought when you
So
mentioned the pleasure barge, you were going to talk about how when he's there to rescue her, after she's being guarded by the Glory and Justicar paladins, that she's her face keeps changing, her body keeps changing, and she's cycling through every
right.
possible like permutation of like beauty or of tall, short, thin, fat, blonde, black, whatever, to
Yeah.
try and get him to
Have
want to
sex
have
with
her,
her.
basically. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what she's been conditioned to
But
do in
but
this scene.
she's also being infected by like all of everybody in the entire boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
All of
well.
their
Everybody's
fantasies
thoughts.
too. It's not just Kate's desires. And he spends time like gathering up all the little threads of desire and sticking them away from her so she can just be her instead of what other people want her to be.
Yeah.
That was actually really cool.
I thought it was cool. I think Shane's a great character. Definitely, I think probably the last character I liked of the crew that's realized.
Oh, you don't like the rat mage?
No, the
No, no,
rat mage
no.
is before
Rat
that.
Oh
Mage
no,
is
no, that's
before.
right. That's right. He
I
is.
didn't like what's her name? Alice?
Yeah, Alice unfortunately is kind of the weaker character because she's really not. They don't have enough time with her to really figure it out.
And that's what it is. It's mostly because I think he was getting to 7. He needed that polar opposite to Shane, but yet he spent the
Although
time with the mentor instead of with Alice. So we're like, we don't really know Alice at all.
it
So
was a little interesting of a interesting twist where you have Shame, who's the angelic, who's very like kind of worldly and like she's been degenerated or denigrated.
Yeah.
She's lower than she should be, right? Because of
Right.
what she's had to go through, right? But then you have Alice, who is an infernal, who is a demon, but she is a paladin. She wants to be a paladin, but she's so it's like the two complete opposite spectrum people, and then they work together and are fine. So I think
Yeah, it was a fun concept, but I agree that more time with Alice would have helped that.
Well,
But
just
the
like the
book
last line in the book, you couldn't have the Malevolent Six because that doesn't sound cool. Wasn't that the last? But it's one of the last lines in the book.
but
So
also but also a book can't be all things to all people. I mean,
yeah.
it just
Let's
no, this is fine.
I
This
think
is cool.
keep going. We got to talk a little bit about kind of what our big overall thing is. We have the Lord's Devilish and the
Yep.
Lord Celestine.
Yep.
They are two people or two races from two different planes that hate each other so much that their only goal in life is to destroy each other.
Yep.
And how do you guys feel? So far, so good, right?
Yeah.
right,
Interesting.
but
I pretty much knew from the beginning that they were going to find a way to Earth to fight. I was just kind of waiting for how. But I did like that the Lords Devilish more see themselves as the freedom fighters, and that the Lord Celestines are, for all intents and purposes, they're good, but it's good as long as it helps them.
mhm.
I mean,
So I mean,
Well,
good
so
for them.
anything that
They
helps them, they classify as good, is what I mean, right? Like,
Yes,
right, but
no,
we
I
see
know.
this
I know what you're
corrupted.
saying.
We see a corrupted force of good in so many books and movies and just
I
forms of media that to me it wasn't like that wasn't unique.
it was fine. I was fine with
Yeah,
it. It was like
it was one of my least favorite parts of the book for me.
was
Is those
the
two forces.
corruption of the Lord Celestine, or just those two forces in general?
Those two forces in general.
well,
Like I just didn't care too much. I mostly was concerned with the main characters and their role in the universe and possibly what effect they were going to have on it.
so what I found interesting about that is that the two the two parties both were neither good nor bad. They just had their own interests.
Hmm.
And they were fighting over our plane. And it really had only to do with what humans were putting onto them. Does that make sense?
Do you think that our human desires shaped their reality, kind of, or?
No, I think that our for whatever reason, humans decided one side was a good side and one side was a bad side.
Oh, yeah, sure. I would think it's just
Eh,
because the devilish looked like devils and the Celestine looked like angels, which
yeah, no,
I mean,
sure.
Eh,
It was not. I'm with Soul mostly. That it's kind of like whatever. It was a fine.
I'm not looking too deep into
Yeah,
these things because that's not what the focus was for me. The focus was all this time spent on Cade, and every time he was like, "Oh no, they tricked me, and I should have been paying attention to this." It's not like if you go back and reread, which I haven't yet. I'm sure there's little clues I can pick up to be like, "Yeah, you were tricked here, here, and here." But I felt like I was along for the ride, and I was with Cade on the whole. Let's focus on our immediate surroundings, very nearsighted,
so,
and
so
not
what
paying too
I
much attention.
So what I found interesting about it is that these they were like frenemies, right? The Celestine and the
Yeah.
because they gang up to like by the way, the creepiest thing at the end of the book where the bugs are crawling out of the person's mouth and then they
oh
turn
yeah, the
into
Oh,
portal, huh?
trigger warning for Panda.
oh
Yeah,
jeez.
sorry.
Sorry,
No,
Panda.
those
That
Pandorals
was
were it was creepy watching them come out, yeah, huh?
I don't
and
know. I
they're
thought that was
called
actually kind of cool because not a lot of
it
people do that.
they're crawling out of the gate's mouth. That is not I
What
mean,
I'm
it's
saying is
cool,
like,
but it's also really creepy.
thanks, Red. Yeah,
Oh my
they.
gosh, Red.
Oh,
Oh
listeners, I
man.
apologize for the salty language that was edited out.
But
Um,
also, but was what was really cool is when that you tried to cut into the Pandorals, like the bugs just moved away and around your blade or whatever, so you couldn't really fight them because the bugs were
Yes.
just. It was
they're
So
very
bugs.
so there's a rogue Pandoral still hanging around. What are
yeah
we gonna do
right.
about that, right? Nobody could touch it in our whole group, right? Like,
Yeah, that's gonna be fun because well, I mean, we're not gonna get to see, but that's just something that they get to deal with. These races, the Sword
I
Celestine
don't.
Devilish now get to. It's like let them have fun with that.
I am 100% sure there's going to be another book.
Okay. I mean, I think so, but not on these characters. I think it's just gonna be set in this world. I think that's what he seemed like he was trying to do, where he made this world, and now he'll do something maybe like 20 years later or something like that. I could
I
see
wasn't
that.
feeling that. I mean, I could see
I,
it, but I
I
wasn't
wasn't
feeling the
feeling that
sequel.
either.
Yeah. All right, here's a question for you guys. Besides Cade, who's your favorite and least favorite character?
Okay, Red, you go first. Who's your favorite?
Gallus?
The Blood Mage.
Go-
Okay.
Yeah,
Favorite?
I love.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, I really think so. Her and the Rat
is it
Mage are
because
my
she's
two.
red?
Only her hair is red.
Okay,
And why is she your favorite, Red?
I would say because I think she's the character that you see has the most growth throughout the story.
yeah,
She changes the
mm,
most. She's gone from somebody who has her will completely subverted to other people's will to somebody who needs to, yes, she needs to learn how to control her will, but she learns how to control. Like, there's a difference between self control and being controlled by others. And that's what her character is learning. Does that make sense? I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I didn't really care about her. I didn't dislike her, but I didn't like
Why? Because
enjoy.
she's a girl.
Yeah, that's 100. That's the only reason. That was enough for me to be like, no, definitely not. Yeah, you know
But I
me.
also really like I also really like the Rat Lord.
All right,
No, I
Red.
think
Now, who's
honestly,
your
I
least
think
favorite?
yeah. All right, fine. Get in that. Then I want to tear into more of her stuff. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, my least favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
who's your least favorite?
Oh man, that's tough.
I'll give you my least
Uh,
favorite character, Red.
okay.
My least favorite character is Fiddick, excuse me. Fiddick.
Yeah.
Not Mr. Bones. He is a completely different character as the wolf, as
Hmm.
the jackal. But no, Fiddick, he was way too conniving all throughout the entire Somehow book. But I
Yeah.
realized it was more because he was just listening to, the Auroral song, but he didn't really do anything I mean, I kind of went through the end of it again, and he does not really do much. And so I was like, nah, just cut Fiddick. He's my least. He doesn't contribute except give them a person to hate, right?
And he's 11.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
didn't
Like
Well,
feel like
but
an 11-year-old. Come
if you
on.
remember though, when you're listening to the Lord Celestines, and they have like that controller view, they make anything that they sound like the best idea you've ever had.
Right, but he's
I'm just
whatever.
still
saying, an 11-year-old's going
11.
to be brainwashed by that, though. Wouldn't
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
believe that.
he's too his behavior is not an 11-year-old. It's
Well,
not.
yeah. Even if you're
yeah.
traumatized, even
Not
if all this other
he's
stuff, I
not
was like,
even a
he did
20-year-old. He's like a
no.
35-year-old.
That's
Yeah.
why he's my least favorite.
That's
Yeah,
So,
fine.
Red,
And
and
how did
I
I and I'm
agree
gonna
with
agree
you.
with you.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
okay. I really don't like Alice either, but that's just because she doesn't have enough screen time, and that's not something I can blame her for.
But you're
It's
not
just the
antagonistic towards her.
that's true. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just yeah. All right, Chesky, who's your favorite then?
Ooh, my favorite. I really like Aradius, the totemist rat mage.
Okay.
I like that he's the swashbuckler, and he could have, as a rat mage, he could have really leaned into like all the rat things and just kind of been like every other rat mage. But he's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm gonna take this my own direction. I'm gonna be my own. Who says rats can't be cool, right? Like, yeah, who says rats can't be cool? I'm gonna be the best freaking rat mage you've ever seen. And this goes on to do that, right? Like,
Hmm.
And he
you know,
argues about the morality of rats and how rats are more moral than people.
yeah. Just
That I like. That I
he's
like. Yeah,
being
that's
silly,
fun.
but like
Yeah.
he's my favorite, I think, aside from Cade.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna. Well, you guys all know it's Corrigan Blight for me. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's he's like the icon. He's what you should try to be in life without
Just not
without
true.
the
He is
hold
not.
on without the murder.
Okay, you still shouldn't try to be like Corrigan, even without the
No.
murder.
I
All right,
like the
fine.
part where he blows up some other weather
Tempesto
maid.
Tempestoris, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Uh,
and then he says, well, her name was whatever her
I
name was.
hated her name. I'm like, that was reason enough. And he's like,
And
it's a
he's like,
terrible name.
yeah, but your name is Blight, so you don't have room to talk.
He's
Yep.
when Kate's talking to us, he's like, every temporist I've ever met has like some stupid last name, Blight,
Right?
Thunderstorm, Destructo. Like they're all dumb, and I don't know why they do that. But every single one I've ever met has done it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but Corrigan, I feel like his character development, while not very strong, his qualities are really interesting and fun to read about alongside Cade, who gets a lot of the character development. And this is your ride or die, fast and furious kind of friend who's that's what he is. This guy is gonna stick with you. He's gonna kill other people, and he's gonna be ornery about it. And he's just one of those characters that is really interesting to read and really fun.
Yeah, and not every character has to go through like experiential growth. Some people just are who they are,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So,
Uh, So I would encourage anybody who is reading this book to approach it like an action movie.
mhm.
Yes.
It's not
Go watch
super,
Magnificent Seven, the original and the remake. Good movies.
not the remake. The remake is not good. It's too long. But anyway,
No, agree to disagree. It's got Ethan Hawke in it, so it's a great movie.
it also has Denzel Washington.
Yes.
But
There's
anyway,
some,
the
yeah.
the point
Go watch the movie.
is it's an action movie. Like this book is an action movie. Like chill out. There's going to be some silly stuff.
Well, that's why I
Corrigan
said
is
this book accomplishes what it sets out to do.
exactly. And Corrigan
And
is that silly stuff.
yeah, yep.
He just is.
Now, was anybody surprised that Cade chose the fortune magic? Raise your hand if you were. Red?
No,
Neither was I. I was. I
no.
knew he'd pick it. I like the scene where he's like, "Come on, don't you want to do this? Don't you want to get rid of your blood magic?" No,
Yeah.
I'm fine. Like, how about your
But he's
rat
like,
mage?
I'm
Do you want to
good.
be something besides a rat mage? And then they're like,
And he's like, now
just
that's
get
his
in the box,
identity.
Cade. Like, you're the
Yeah.
only one who hates what you are. Like,
Yeah.
which changing because you hate what you are, I don't know if that's the best moral, but like in this instance, it's fine.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
his
there was
magic
reasoning behind
is
it.
making deals with demons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
making
and
deals with devils. Yeah.
he was
I mean that I
forced
think
into
that's a
that, so he didn't like it.
yeah, but still, I think that's an okay thing to change about yourself. I'm not going to make deals with devils anymore.
Yeah.
Although Tenebris was a lot of fun. He was a very enjoyable
That
character.
was my next thing was which character besides the main ones did you enjoy, if any of them? And Tenebris was up there. He's probably my favorite. I wish he was a part of the crew, but man, do you think he was good? What do you think he is on the good scale? Do you think he's actually a friend of Cade or not? That's what I want to know from each of
I
you.
think he's like a 6.5 to a 7. Like he's a
Okay.
friend and he'll help out. He'll swing you a deal, but he's not gonna like
Do you
really
still think
risk
he's a
his life.
friend though? Okay,
He's
and
not going to
then
go
Red?
out of his way.
No, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean
maybe a
he's
little
still a
bit out of his
devil.
way, but not like a big stop out of his
He's
way.
still a devil, but you do think he's a friend. And Red, what about you?
I do think he's a friend actually, but I
Mhm.
also think that the priors that are set up in the story don't really fit. He doesn't fit into those priors. It's kind of like
The prior being like, oh, all devils, all the lords devilish are super evil and
right,
want to feast on
exactly.
children. Well, that's
Well,
I think
he's
that is
not
just
that.
more
He's one of their
propaganda.
minions. He's one
Yeah,
of their
no,
minions.
I know, but the
Right.
whole idea, those don't. He doesn't fit there. It's
Right.
almost like okay, so I love you, Sebastian. Thank you for coming on the show. He's
Uh-oh.
not Terry Pratchett or Neil Gaiman, who do this better in Good Omens.
I disagree.
Yeah, I just felt like he was saying like you're told, we the characters are told, yeah, demons are all super evil and the Lord Celestines are all super good. But I think they're both good. They're like you were saying earlier, Red. They're just like
They're just
people. They
there.
just happen to be on different planes with
Right.
different bodies. So
Right. Right.
Tenebris could be a good one, but if he'd summoned, another demon, he could have been a super evil one. Or just another like, hey, I'm just a dude making a job, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Which is what I like about him, by the way. This character is he is just a dude doing his job. He's getting pieces
Yeah.
of souls. He's doing a thing.
And he's gonna do things he doesn't want to do. Like, oh, he kind of likes Cade, but he's like, well, I still have to sell you out and go to other people anyways because that's the job. And he's gonna
Yeah.
do it.
And he freaking takes an angel through hell,
Yeah,
which
that's
he's
pretty
not
cool.
supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun little arc. That was cool.
Yeah. Of course, she switched sides.
Well, but she's
Ah.
Did she, though?
that was the triple betrayal of the Lord Celestines and Devilish. Because is it really betraying if you're told and forced to do that by your bosses? Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
And you're on your own side. So I don't
Yeah.
really feel like switching from somebody who's, you're not on your own side to your own side. That's a good thing. So
Yeah.
I'm proud of anybody who does that.
It's an interesting part of the book, and I
I
thought
know. We're gonna
pretty
okay.
clever.
All right. I have to step off, but let me just say before I leave, um, love this book. It was a lot of fun. Everybody should go read it. If I had to choose, I would also be a chance mage. That's just the one I like. And Cade was never as bad as he pretended to be the entire time. You know, he's always pretending to be, oh, I'm the worst and I'm just an evil guy, but the whole time he's basically just a paladin without the official designation of paladin. So
Agreed. I agree with
I
that.
agree. See you,
Okay, get
Chesky.
better, princess.
All right, Red. So, which kind of mage would you want to be if you could be one?
A blood mage.
Oh, I knew you would say that.
I know.
Do you want to know how I know you would say it? Say it. What's the color?
It's not because it's red, but
Are you
that's
sure? I'm pretty sure it's because it's red.
no, because she gets to because I like vampires, even though blood
Murder
mages.
everybody just by being like, I don't feel cool right now. I'm just gonna suck all the blood out of the air. That's so weird. Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, come
No.
on. I know what kind you would be. You'd be the storm mage.
No, actually.
Oh, really?
I would be the doofus that was the cosmic one or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
I w
dummy, that
You know
one.
what? It would have been more fun to see that kind of magic, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. Someone
Because
who's too stupid who's like,
he
"Oh, I have a bunch of
he's
power," and then he pulls it and he's like, "Yeah, that was dumb. That's
he
exactly
w
what I would do. I know it."
he was he's like he was black, but not like
Well,
black.
he looked basically like the cosmos. I'm picturing like
He looked like a piece of
Galactus or
space,
something like
and you
that.
could
Yeah,
see the
space
stars.
and galaxy around his entire body. That was cool. It's like that's fun
And
imagery.
yeah, right? And then they had the plant one. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like her skin was the color of mahogany. And I mean, like, literally, her
It was
skin was
actual
mahogany.
mahogany. Like,
Yeah.
no, that
It
was
was very funny.
interesting. I don't. I didn't like. I don't know. There were a couple different animals where he did like rat, bat,
Cat. There was a cat
bats.
mage.
They are all rhyming now, and I just noticed that because he used the other terms for them. It was Latin based or something like that he used. I don't remember
Yeah.
what he used, but those were okay. But I really liked, like you said, like the blood, the chance, the demon dealing pact stuff. Like these other interesting ones. I was like, all right, that was kind of like that's different. That's
Right.
fun.
Right.
But yeah, yeah, lightning was a close second, mostly just for Corrigan. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you gotta admit that you would really like to have lightning bolts in your hands and striking people off city walls with them. I know you would like that.
Oh yeah, he could even power a boat with it.
Yeah.
I
That
could
was
just
so weird and funny.
get a
Mhm.
little boat out in Florida and I just power and lightning myself across. You know what? That does sound pretty fun. I feel like I'm not gonna kill myself that way. But all right, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap this up?
Let me look at my notes.
You brought notes
I
to the
brought
Wing It
notes.
podcast? This is the Wing It
No.
one.
Oh, so there's a conversation that he's having with Tenebris. Kate is having with Tenebris. He goes, "You
Okay.
won't believe what," he's talking about mortals and how they're all whiners. And
Yeah.
he's like, "You won't believe what a mortal he is," talking about one of his devil masters.
I think he just used that as an insult.
Right?
That was pretty
Anyway,
fun.
there's a lot of really just fun little moments in this action-packed book. So
Well, he does that with Sebastian does that with Great Coats as well, where there's just so many
it's cute.
moments that I really enjoy. Even if, like you said, the plot isn't moving and the pacing might be a little off, there's still these fun little moments in between possible monologue, sections that just keep
Right.
you interested, that keep you feel like you're with these characters that are in relationships and brotherhoods and sisterhoods, and it keeps
And
it fun.
there's yeah, exactly. There's like a real sense of terror, but also there's a lot of sense of fun. Like that's kind of like life, right?
Well,
Sometimes it's
that's what it is. It's
yeah.
realism. It feels like when I'm at work and you have work friends that you joke about and you joke with and you mess with each other,
Mhm.
and then you go about your day and you continue doing things, and that's what it feels like.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's why I love his relationships, and I would definitely want to keep reading more of his works.
And
So
I hope we get more in this world because I did enjoy this world quite a bit.
Hmm.
And that's all I have left to say.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been the Green Team of the Legendarium. Thank you, Craig, for loaning us a corner of the little media empire you created. And what is it? The outro is Jingle Punks. No, it's Galactic Damages
Bye, Jingle
by
Punks.
Jingle Punks. Nailed it on the first try. Didn't even need Red to help me. This has been Soul. This has been Red. This has been Chesky. And that's it. Have
Night,
fun, and
y'all.
we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.